A quick little exercise. This is for you, Graham, and the viewers. So
That's
I'm going to
me.
ask a series of
I'm a
little
viewer.
ethical dilemmas.
Aha.
Okay, some I'm sure we've all heard of. And I
Okay.
want to see where you guys land. So comment down below in the comment section, and then you guys are going to be able to answer this as well. We're going to start it off with the classics. So I'm sure most of you guys have heard this, but it's trolley problem. You see a runaway
Okay.
trolley heading towards 5 people tied to a track. You can pull a lever to divert it onto another track. Will only take the life of one person. Do you pull the lever?
If you have the train inevitably killing 5 people, or you choose to kill one person, essentially, that's what a lot of people view this as. There are different ways that you can approach this. So obviously you can approach this with a utilitarian aspect of, what is good is what is the most optimal outcome for the most amount of people. What is the most optimal outcome for the most amount of people in this case? Well, it's pulling the lever, obviously. Killing one person is factually less than killing 5, right? Let the train kill the 5 people so I'm not responsible for killing anybody. So there is another thing, is you don't pull the lever and you let the 5 people die because then you aren't responsible. This feeling of responsibility is, it just comes from pulling the lever. Doing an action then makes you liable for the consequences of that action. But here's an interesting case. What if I were to say that the omission of an action is still an action? And what I mean by that is, what if doing nothing counts as doing something, but the doing is choosing? You're choosing not to pull the lever. So then you could be held equally liable for the 5 lives lost. There is a case where if you choose not to do something, that's still choosing to do another thing, because the consequences of you not choosing then lead to something else. And in this case, not choosing means letting these 5 people die. I honestly would pull the lever. If you go over the idea that not doing something is choosing to do something else, then not pulling the lever means killing 5 people. But pulling lever is killing one person. So I think, even though you would maybe feel more responsible if you pulled the lever and did that action, I think that you could be held responsible either way. So I personally would pull the lever. Maybe controversial, who knows? But we'll see what these guys got to say about this.
Only,
I think. I don't know. I actually don't know. I think I would not. I think I wouldn't do it.
Interesting.
I'd be too scared to get
should
involved.
should you?
Should you? Actually, no. I think maybe you shouldn't. I think you shouldn't, because the problem is, like, okay, you can be a utilitarian, but like, why wouldn't you one healthy person to harvest their 5 organs and give them to 5 people who each needed individual organs to save their lives? Why wouldn't you do that? Or would you? Maybe you would. I don't think you would. Right? Like, why shouldn't a hospital do that?
Well, let's not get too ahead of ourselves here.
Oh, that's a good question, though.
Because
hold
That's
on.
a great question.
Yeah, well,
What?
It is wrong to proactively kill people.
Just the trolley for right now.
In which case, I would say, I don't know, but maybe.
Gosh, he's so on the fence and it makes me mad. I feel like it's so obvious that you pull the lever every time. So I think pulling the lever every time is the best case, even if both are considered crimes and both end people's lives. I think that's just the correct choice.
You shouldn't.
Maybe you shouldn't.
Maybe you should.
Okay, Graham.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, can I see in my line of sight?
Everything is within your view. Would you?
Oh gosh. So if I could see the people, I'd probably pull the lever to save the 5. Just because I could see 5 people in front of me that, like, I have a choice now to do this thing.
It's also a thing too, like, yeah, visualization is a big thing. If you're actually seeing the people, it makes this issue a lot more real. And so when you see these people, you then realize that these are 5 human beings and you are capable of saving their lives. And so that has a lot more weight than just this thought experiment.
I'd probably pull the lever to save the 5.
Yeah, that's correct.
I would say I would.
Mhm.
Should you? Yes, is what I would say. Yeah. Because you just take it to the nth degree. You know, it's one person versus 6 billion. Should you? Okay, probably.
That's the problem.
So I think, you know, in a certain sense, I don't even know,
Yeah.
like, could you somehow remove this from being a utilitarian argument? Because I don't like being a utilitarian, but it's kind of
No,
the
you're right, man. 'Cause
justification that I use for it.
like-
Yeah, but I don't really ascribe to utilitarian ideas like holistically, but this is really the only way that you can solve this problem. Like I don't get why Alex, this left bloke over here, is so distraught because like, you know, in a way, you know, all these people have rights and you know, if you're a deontologist, you kind of ascribe yourself to these kinds of things. And I'm not sure exactly what Alex's beliefs are. I call him by his first name because we're tight like that. But Mr. O'Connor's beliefs, I'm not really sure what they are, but either way, I feel like this still, even if it's a 1 to 5 ratio of people, I still think that there's a clear and obvious answer, and you really just solve it with a utilitarian framework.
You've always got to just sort of explode the thing into an extreme
Right.
example to test it. And yeah, you're right. If it's 6 billion people versus one, like, yeah, of course, surely you should pull the lever there, you know? In which case, actually, yeah, maybe you should pull the lever.
Yeah,
Fine.
you pull
Bloody
you
hell,
pull the
man.
lever
I mean,
there
I
too.
just don't know. This is one of the reasons, by the way, why I think that ethics is just like a bit of a sham and it's all
Yeah.
about emotions. It's like, how do you feel, man?
Right.
How do I feel? Put me there.
all right,
Michael Stevens did this once. He put people in a real trolley problem. Like he faked this whole scenario. He put them in the control room. The guy goes like to get a coffee or something, and you know the workers don't.
Is that Vsauce? That's Vsauce. It's the same guy. Why does he call him Michael Stevens, bro? I mean, respect. I mean, he's very well educated and probably should be known by his first and last name.
Like he faked this whole scenario. He put them in the control room. The guy goes like to get a coffee or something, and you know the workers don't see the train coming in. And it's like, do they press the button or not? You know, he did it in real life.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, we'll put the results of that video right here. Another one. You discover that a high-performing employee is cheating the company, but
Yep.
bringing in significant profits. If you fire them, the company might suffer. Do you report
What do you
or
mean
keep quiet?
cheating the company?
Let's say they're stealing money.
Okay,
They're
yeah.
stealing a little bit of money,
Oh,
but they're bringing in
right,
more
right.
than they're stealing.
Well, look, I mean, how much ethical concern do I have for the company? Like, is it my company? Is it because
Let's say it's your company.
Oh, well, if I knew about it, I'd probably.
Well, if it's my company and they're bringing in more than they're stealing, I'd honestly probably just give them like a huge warning, and the second they do it again, I'd insta-fire them. I think just because they're making profit, I think that's, well, it depends on how much profit though, and how much they're stealing. These numbers are like, because the numbers aren't really defined, it's kind of hard to imagine the scenario further. Let's hear, maybe they'll push it along in some way.
I'd probably threaten to fire them. I'd say.
Well, I would
"Hey,
say,
stop doing
you know,
this."
it's not your
Okay.
company because it's
Yeah,
do
because
you
do you report them? In
them?
which case, I mean, I guess it
No,
depends.
it's
on
an employee, so they work for you. So
No,
it
No,
should
no,
be your
because if
business.
you're
Yeah,
also an
yeah,
employee, like
you're an employee.
if it depends on your relationship to the company, because like, I mean, if somebody was like, I don't know, if I was like working at Apple and somebody was like cheating Apple out of, they were stealing like 12 grand a year, but they were bringing in like millions worth in profit, I'd probably be like, whatever, man. Like, Apple should probably have a system in place to catch out that kind of thing. You know, don't blame me for like not saying anything. You should record it yourself. I'd probably feel a bit funny about it, but I don't know, like, you know, snitches get stitches and all that. But if,
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
I don't know, there does seem something a little bit grotesque about it.
I'd say you probably should.
You know, if you're owning the company, you probably would do a warn and fire. That seems like the most easy way to do it, depending on, but obviously you could fire them if they're stealing a lot more than they're making the company back, or if they're but if they're making the company a lot more, like Alex said in that example, if they're making like tens of millions of dollars, but they're only stealing 10,000, proportionally that's much different. But I still think that I would do the warn and fire. I would do the warn and fire first, and then if if I'm a fellow employee, am I obligated to report them? It really does depend on how I feel about the company and maybe like what position they have. Like if they have a position that maybe I want, obviously I'm going to try and, you know, get them to quit or leave because then that would open a spot for me, right? So there may be a few selfish reasons why I would report them, but in principle, it seems like the right thing to do is to report them if you are employees on equal standing. But if you're overseeing this employee, I think it's a warn and fire.
Let's address the one that you mentioned earlier. It's called the organ donor. A hospital has 5 patients in need of organ transplants, and you're a match for all of them, but you're healthy. Do you sacrifice yourself to save them or let them pass away?
This is not the same as the trolley problem. I don't think that you would sacrifice the one person. That's just what my intuition says. Or I say that would be me. Like I'm a match for everybody, and then I should, you know, give up all my organs and just die for these 5 people. Again, utilitarian frameworks would say that absolutely you should do that because it's maximizing the most amount of happiness for the most amount of people, right? But I think this problem can take a more deontological approach. But let's get further into the details.
Myself, man, I mean, well, the problem is you're in that position right now. So we know what we would do. You could pauperize yourself. You could
Right, but let's just say it's presented to you, on a piece of paper right in front of you.
But it kind of is right now. I mean, how many times do people come to you and say, hey, if you only give us X amount of money, we can save this many people from malaria? You could sell your car and save like measurable numbers of lives. But you don't. There's an online calculator called The Life You Can Save. If you type in The Life You Can Save calculator, it has a list of charities. And the first objection is always, well, are the charities effective? Blah, blah, blah. This organization exists to investigate that. And so it has a calculator. You can put in a US dollar amount and it will tell you exactly what that money would pay for. That is the situation kind of that you're in when it comes to the self-sacrifice here. Like, do you pauperize yourself? Do you sell your equipment? Do well, you don't do that. And I think that this is a more sort of extreme and immediate example, but it's the same principle I think most people wouldn't do. And I don't think you should have a moral duty to do so.
Interesting. Yeah. So, like, with the ability of the internet to kind of give you access to being charitable at all moments in time, you're faced with these kinds of scenarios every single day, and you choose not to do them, right? When you choose to not donate, you're choosing not to save lives. So, he's saying that we don't have a moral obligation to do it. We would kind of ruin our lives if we did this. Like, if every time that I thought, oh man, I spent way too much on my food, I could have spent it on charity. If I actually started living like that, I would run out of money and I would become so generous that I would instantly become poor and my life honestly would be over. And I would be constantly consumed with this feeling of giving and I wouldn't have anything for me to survive on. So I do think that Alex is making a good point here as well of, being so generous to where you end up losing your survivability. You shouldn't have the moral duty to donate your organs in this case. I don't think that you should have a moral duty to do that either.
Should versus would
Yeah.
is a
But
important
the
one on
thing
that.
is, the reason I bring this up in the trolley problem example is because it provides a test case against our principle. We think, well, we just think it's okay to kill one person to save 5. It's like, do you? What about this example? That can't be the principle you're working on. So what is the principle? Well, one difference here, intuitively, again, maybe you're not aware that this assumption is being made, but I think for a lot of people it is, with the organ donor thing, the reason you feel that would be wrong is because it's not a one-off, right? If a hospital can do that, if it's just like whenever they have people who need organs, they can just kill a healthy person as long as there are more people in need. That's a terrifying society to live in. Do you want to live in that society? I don't. And so we decide, no, that's not right. We're not going to.
Yeah, it's another deontological argument. If one person does it, then it should be morally permissible by everyone to do it. And so if this is, if this isn't just an example, but it's also like the society that we live in, then it absolutely seems insanely scary that at any moment, like you could just be drafted, because your blood type matches or something, and then you could just die for the sake of 5 other people, right? In that case, it actually might be better to be ill than to be healthy because then you would have a lower chance of dying. Does every person have a moral obligation to be an organ donor upon their death? Oh, that is interesting. I don't see a reason not to. I don't see a reason why you shouldn't donate your organs after death. Like, I am totally okay with them using my body to do whatever. Right now, I don't really have any problems with that at all. If anything, I think it's helpful. It actually just doesn't hurt to do any of that. If not, that's just like, it's selfish, but it's also selfish over a possession that isn't even yours anymore. It's nobody's. Your body, when you die, is no one's possession at that point.
Okay, so now imagine that trolley is running down a track. It's going to run over 5 people. And there is a rotund man walking across the bridge. You can push the man off the bridge. He will crash into the train, derailing the train, saving the 5 people, but you have to push the fat man off the bridge in order to do so. Would you push the fat man off the bridge?
See, part of me thinks like, okay, these people are on the tracks and it's their own fault probably that they're in this predicament, but this guy is just innocently standing on a bridge.
Well,
But
supposed
that's
to be-
also outside of the that's more added context.
Yeah, they're either
to the,
construction
right, if you're just
workers
saying,
who were supposed to be there
right,
and somebody made a
essentially
mistake.
it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but would you push?
I don't think this is the same thing. They're saying it's essentially the same thing, but the main difference that I see is this, right? So they're in the trolley problem, you have the 5 people on one track and they will get run over, or you have one person on the other, and if you pull the lever, boom, that person will die. So in this case, with the fat man on the bridge, it's more like in the trolley problem, like the equivalent to pushing the fat man off the bridge is if you like grab the one construction worker in the trolley problem, put him on the track, tie him up, right? It's kind of the same thing as like putting him in the way, and then you pull the lever after all that. Like you are ensuring that one person dies in exchange for 5 people, right? It's it's fat phobic. You're right. It would be fat phobic to push this person off the bridge. You are creating the circumstances for this man's death in the OG trolley problem. You are not. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is the equivalent of taking the man and putting him on the track, tying him up, and then pulling the lever. You are 100% certain from an earlier standpoint than in the original trolley problem that this person will die. Ultimately, the consequences are the same, and inevitably you're still choosing, but it feels like there's a lot more responsibility that you end up dealing with as a result. So because you go through this bigger process of pushing him down and you make that choice and then you also do the action, but the action seems more extreme, I guess.
It's easier to press a
Probably.
button.
Yeah.
That's
So,
what
so
it
okay.
is.
So then,
like
so
someone
then,
is removed, you can't see them.
so as Michael Sandel asks in his introductory course to ethics, it's a Harvard lecture. It's available online. Okay. Now imagine that you are on the bridge and the fat man's walking over the bridge, and you just press a button, and it opens a trap door, and the fat man falls through the trap door and hits the train and saves 5 people. Would you press the button and drop him onto the train?
It'd be easier.
Would you do it?
I don't know.
It's so interesting, like the fact that these circumstances even change the question at all. Like the amount of responsibility that you have when you conduct these actions is what we have a problem with. And that's just so fascinating to me. Like pulling the lever to kill one person and saving 5 is somehow so much more different than the experiment we just heard of pushing the fat man off the bridge, because consequentially they are the exact same. It's so interesting to me that even I and my own intuition feel that these are different and they should be treated differently. If you push the man, you have sole responsibility for his death, not so for the trolley folks. Yeah, it's just a way of deviating the responsibility a little bit. How far does the hypothetical have to go for it to be considered murder? Yeah, so like pushing the fat man off the bridge is straight up murder, regardless of why you did it. That's what these boundaries are pushing. When is it murder? Is it ever okay to at some point? Is it ever okay to do that if at some point it's considered murder? Yeah, the only way that we can justify the killing of someone usually is either in self-defense or in consequentially saving other people's lives. Those are really the two cases where we justify ending someone's life. So whenever we push the button, so to speak, it kind of moves it from, okay, here's the trolley problem section where you're just pulling the lever and that's it. Here's the pushing the fat man off the bridge where it's the equivalent of tying him to a train track and pulling the lever. So there's more actions being done here. And then pushing the button kind of comes in this middle point where you are still pressing the button, but you're not like deliberately shoving him and you're kind of masked in it. There's almost a security in the anonymity of it, right? Is it morally more responsible or good to jump in front of the train yourself? Well, here's the interesting part. I'm a skinny guy, all right? So I wouldn't be able to stop the train. So I would just be dying for the sake of dying, and I wouldn't be stopping anything, actually. You can murder to stop a murder. When you push a button, you are not stopping a murder, you're creating it. Well, true, you're not stopping a murder, but you are stopping 5 other deaths. viewing murder and death as two different things really complicates this a lot. But that's the issue, right? Is how much are you willing to go through with to save other people? And I really, when it comes to pushing the button, I think it really depends on a lot of different factors, such as, if I truly am hidden and no one will know that I did it, that obviously makes it easier. Will I be punished for it? That makes it a lot easier. Honestly, if I was punished for it, I would not do it. I would just let natural selection, so to speak, run its course literally and kill these 5 people.
Yeah, I would.
It's like it feels kind of
Wait,
different.
yeah, he would what? He would
To
push the
save
button?
5 lives?
Who pushed the button? Deep thought?
Yeah, I would.
He would.
It's like it feels kind of different, and then it's not, and then it's like I gotta push him, press a button, maybe like
Mhm.
it's kind of maybe you gotta like what if you got to like trip him up? You don't have to push him, you just sort of like got to stick your foot out and knock him. Yeah,
I-
it's really and it shows us how much of what we think is ethical consideration is actually just how we feel about
Yeah,
something.
emotions.
Interestingly, I think that they put people under an MRI scanner while being asked about this, and people who would both pull the lever and push the fat man, when they're thinking about it, the part of their brain associated with like rational thinking is lighting up. The people who say that they would pull the lever but they wouldn't push the fat man, when they're thinking about the problem, it's the emotional side of their brain that's lighting up.
Maybe I'm just too emotional. Maybe I'm too emotional to answer these questions. Jeez, it's just embarrassing. Should be using my brain and not my heart. God, I'm never going to solve these problems. I'm such a sensitive young man, I know. Oh my gosh. I just need to become heartless.
Last one. The gift of time. You have the power to save one person's life from certain death, but it requires taking a year of life from another person. Do you take away a year from someone else to save a life?
Interestingly,
On paper, this seems pretty easy. To save a life? I mean, dang it. As soon as I said it was so easy, I think about like, whose life is it? How long is this person going to live? How long is the person you're taking a year off of going to live? Highly depends on the person. I would donate a year for the right person. Also, just take a year from a baby. Percentage wise, they should have a lot of time left. That's true. That's true. But I do agree. I think it depends on the right person. Like, think of the worst person that you know. Would you take a year of their life to save the life of another? Obviously, you would. But would you take a year of someone that you loved, like maybe your close friend? Would you take a year off their life to save a random person? Chances are no. Why should I give my money a year of a random person in this or a year of a random person in this case to a poorer person, the dying person in this case, who could just as easily waste it on drugs, lottery, or whatever, waste their life and ruin themselves or die in an accident anyways. Yes, it's kind of true. Like it kind of is putting resources into a bottomless pit and you're just never going to find them again. And there's like equal chance that saving the life can just prolong suffering. It can induce more suffering. It can bring about harsh consequences on that person. You want to feel like you're making a good investment. Exactly. Yeah. Whenever you save this life, if you're giving a year to essentially do something good, you want to make sure that the life that is being lived that has been saved is of good value. You want to value that life more. And it's obviously true that we value some lives more than others. I mean, you probably value the life of your pet more than a random person that you saw on the sidewalk yesterday. That's probably true. Like these, even though they're just creatures, you would probably save your dog over a person walking on the sidewalk. It really is just a huge gamble. And so if you boil it down to a gamble when there are so many factors of what this person can do, I would be very hesitant to give up a year of anyone's life really to save someone else. Again, it just depends on who the people are and who we deem bad and who we deem good, right?
so here's a question then to it's sort of another, it's not exactly a dilemma, but it's an ethical question which helps to work out what you think about this. Suppose you one person to save 10 people. Suppose you just did that, right? Do you think that is better, worse, or the same as 10 people to save 100 people?
It's the same. Same to me.
This is another utilitarian versus deontological dilemma that Alex just proposed. So if the proportions are the same of killing one person to save 10 people and killing 10 people to save 100 people. Since those proportions are the same, do those different numbers have any differing moral weight? And so utilitarian wise, obviously you're like, no, these differences don't matter at all because the consequence is still the same, the proportion is still the same, and therefore it doesn't matter how many people are killed because there's a consistent number of lives being saved. But if you have a deontological argument, right, killing one person to save 10 obviously doesn't feel justified. Then let's say, what if you kill one person to save 100,000? Well, then things get a little more tricky because then the utilitarian consequence becomes so obviously clear that you're saving 100,000 people for every one, but it still feels wrong to kill one person. It seems wrong to violate someone's rights, their right to life specifically, in order to preserve the rights of these other 100,000 people. It doesn't feel like the utilitarian argument there is so overbearing, I think.
100 people to save 1,000 people.
The ratio, as long as the ratio
The
is
ratio's
1
the
to
same,
10,
then it's just the same.
to me.
So this guy is utilitarian, right? The proportions are the same, so the consequence is the same. Purely utilitarian right here.
No better, it's no worse. What do you think, Jack?
Well, I mean, I'd have to definitely think about this quite a bit. So, but off the top of my head, I would probably say it's the ratio.
Yeah, so that implies a consequentialist way of thinking. That means that what matters.
I'm a genius, dude. Everybody loves this guy. I'm saying the same stuff, man. I'm saying the same stuff. Dial in. Dial in.
Is now suppose the organ situation. Okay, here we go.
Here we go.
You kill one person to harvest their organs to save 5 people.
Okay.
You would say that's wrong.
Mhm.
Okay, now you
I'd agree.
you still do it, even though it's wrong. You still do it. Now you kill 5 people to harvest their organs to save 50 people. Is that worse, or is it better, or is it the same?
Better.
Obviously, this guy's saying better. He instantly is jumping in. Oh, better. Duh. Utilitarianism. 5 people for 50 lives saved is easier to answer than 1 person for 5 lives saved. It's just fact. It's 1 to 5 versus a 1 to 10, right? So he's trying to change the proportions to see how far this guy's deontological thinking really is going.
Better. The
Oh,
ratio.
is
The ratio is the same. The ratio is the same.
Yeah, I
the
would say
ratio's
it's the
Oh, the
same.
ratio is the same. Why
And
did
that's
I
my.
think?
And that's my.
What? Did he not say 1 to 5 and 5 to 50?
You kill one person to harvest their organs to save 5 people.
Yes, 1 to 5.
You would say that's wrong.
Mhm.
Okay, now you still do it, even though it's wrong. You still do it. Now you kill 5 people to harvest their organs to save 50 people.
These ratios just aren't the same. These guys are just lying for fun. I think they just forgot the numbers that they said, but either way, the ratio changes. But this guy is going to stay consistent. If the ratio changes, he's going to go for the more beneficial ratio. If it doesn't change, then nothing, it doesn't matter. Either way, the dilemma is the same.
1 person.
It's
to
just
save
a higher
5.
ratio. Yeah. let's
Sorry.
No, 1 to 5. Yeah, it's better. Yeah.
Right, but let's just say the
sorry,
ratio
the
5
ratio
to
is the same.
25.
Okay. Let's
Yeah.
say 1. Yeah, 5 to 25.
Yeah.
Quite right. Yeah, right. You are.
Oh, then it would be the same. I
think it's
thought
the
like
same.
5 to 50.
Oh,
Okay,
they're
all
just-
right.
You just backtracked and got the ratio wrong, and obviously it's still the same.
Okay, but
better.
so why is it wrong in the first case? Like to kill 1 to save 5. Why is it wrong?
I didn't say it was right, but it's better to
No, but
kill
like, but
5
you-
to save 50 than 1 to 5.
you're saying
Do you
why-
think in the first case, just 1 to save the 5 there in that instance is wrong? Like, why is it wrong?
I wouldn't say that it's wrong.
To harvest their organs to save the other 5?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I would.
But why is that wrong?
I would say that it's wrong because I stand on a more deontological base when it comes to this kind of issue. One person's rights being violated to save 5 people is not morally justifiable. I don't think it's right to violate this one person's right to life to save 5 people. That's just how it is. So then, is it right to violate 5 people's rights to save 25 people? No, because the exact same way. The proportions are still the same, so the number of people being harmed does not justify the number of people being saved. It doesn't. Unless the scale, again, gets so large and it's like one person's right to life is violated in exchange for 100,000 lives saved, then that's obviously a different story. But if we're talking about these proportions that are so small, then I think that deontological arguments should win every time.
Why is it wrong? I just don't think that you have a moral obligation to.
But you think it's wrong to do it, right? You think it's wrong to take one person, kill them, harvest their organs, and save 5 people. I think that would be immoral. Why?
Yes, because you're taking one thing that is whole and then distributing it to other things that are not.
So in other words, if you think it is actually wrong to do that, you think, well, it's wrong because you're doing this wrong thing. Yeah, okay, you're sure the consequences that more people live and less people or whatever, but like, it's just wrong to do it. Even if it doesn't matter what the consequences are really here. What matters is that what you're doing is wrong. You shouldn't burden to half their organs to kill more people. Even if there are more people, it's just wrong to do that. If that's the mindset you're in, then when I say, okay, now you can 5 people to save 25 people in the same way, the ratio is the same. But if it's just like wrong to do, it's like wrong to kill that one person, sort of regardless of the circumstances, it's wrong to do it, then 5 people must be worse.
Whenever I take this deontological stance, right, the important thing is that the consequences don't matter. The important thing that's happening is that a person's rights are being violated. Boom, instant red flag. This is morally impermissible, right? So if there are 5 people's rights being violated, then Alex is right. It should be the case that this is worse than one person's rights being violated. So he's correct. Because there are just more people's rights being violated, that's worse than less people's rights being violated.
Is it worse? If something is wrong to do, is it worse to do it 1 time or 5 times?
Worse.
It's worse to do it 5 times.
Yeah.
So if there's something that's wrong to do, it's worse to do it 5 times than to do it 1 time, which means that one person to save
Yeah, but
5
you could
people.
also say it's better to save 50 people than 5.
Yeah, but now imagine like you're saving 50 by saving by 5, but you do it one at a time. You kill the first person and it saves 5, then you kill the second person, 5, third, 5, fourth, and you just do it
Oh,
one
I
at a
see.
time. You're just
Oh,
doing
so
the
now
thing
you're
that
doing the moral relativism
you
thing.
thought you were doing. Like you think that it's wrong to do.
So I'm thinking it's all.
You think it's. You see what I'm saying? Like it's worse to do a wrong thing multiple times than to just do it once. And yet you're telling me that if I one person to save 5, that's the same as 5 people to save 25.
Mhm.
But 5 people to save 25 is just doing that one save 5 times. And you say that doing something wrong 5 times versus 1 time is worse. Yeah, and it would also be that the answer to the question of if it's better, worse, or the same is basically like, how do you feel about it, man?
There's just a lot of emotions going on, I think. Yeah, I think he's right. It's really just how you feel about it. Like, it's easier for us to envision an area where saving 50 lives to sacrifice 5 is like it's better for us to envision. But then he's right because of the proportions. You're just doing the 1 to 5 times. I still think that it's wrong to do it because that proportion is still too small. If the proportion was bigger, then we could have some different discussions.